until they are required. So if you see in Agile, we provide the high-level estimates initially, and we provide the low-level or the task-level estimates only when the specific sprint or the duration of time is going to start. So we defer it until that. Now let's go through some of the best practices or guidelines or inputs on how we can build good estimates, what we can do for the estimation techniques. So what practically we can use is we can develop both the top-down and bottom-up estimates. So if the project is a high-risk estimate, high-risk project, and it requires very detailed estimates or the estimates that we can rely on, then we can use a combination of top-down and bottom-up estimates. Or we can have multiple estimation techniques that can be used to get more coarse-grained or more detailed estimates as required. So for example, initially when we have the use cases developed, we can have the use case based estimation at a very high level. And when we go to the design level, we know what are the inputs and outputs and all the data of the system. At that time, we can have the function point based estimates. So we can have a combination of that. Another guideline is to get the estimates consensus from the team instead of imposing the estimations. And this particular guideline have seemed to be working very well in the Agile environment, where the team members who are actually going to develop, if they estimate, then that comes up with a lot of buy-in along with it. Another guideline is we need to have progressive elaboration of estimates as the requirements elaborate. If the requirements are getting changed, if the requirements are getting modified, our estimates also need to modify. And whenever the environment changes, there are significant changes in the project environment, we need to have the estimates also revised in line with that. We can use normalized historical data. That always comes handy as a reference for future expectations or for using the estimates. We also need to do a major work on managing the stakeholder expectations. Because if your boss comes and tells you that this project has to be delivered in next 3 months with this particular scope, then what you really need is expectations management and not estimation management. So you also need to ensure that you're doing the proper project stakeholder expectations management. We can use empirical methods, we can use automated tools and templates for the software cost and effort estimations. And practically many organizations would have their own Excel sheets or spreadsheets or software project management tools using which they will derive the estimates. Now another important fact we need to consider is we need to quantify the impact of the risk in the estimates. Usually we do risk management where we just have the risks mentioned as a text and they don't get converted or they don't get factored in our estimates. But if we have high impact or a high risk, then we need to have the buffer or padding also adjusted in line with your risks of the project or uncertainty of the project. If it's a high uncertainty, you would like to have high padding or high buffer adjusted accordingly. One more aspect is we also need to make sure that the process aspect is considered, which means the design time, the test-driven development or behavior-driven development time, the code reviews, documentation, performance work, your project audit requirements, all of them are factored in the estimates. You're not just covering your code time or your core implementation time, but you're considering all the other aspects as well. And another key important guideline is inspect and adapt. Continuously try to see how the process is working for you. Are you in line with what you projected or what your estimates were? Is estimates and actuals managing? And then keep on evaluating the things in line with that. So this is what I wanted to share with all of you. Some of